The market was quiet that morning. The wind blew soft dust through broken stalls and rusty metal beams. Old alien banners flapped from half-collapsed roofs. Their colors faded under Earth's twin suns. A few people wandered the broken path. Their eyes down, their steps quick. No one stopped, no one looked, except her. She sat on a wooden stool, legs bent to one side, welled just one leg. Her right thigh ended in tattered wrappings. Where a leg should have been, there was nothing. Her other foot, still covered in a worn black boot, stayed firmly on the cracked stone below. She was beautiful in a strange, haunting way. Her skin was pale, like soft moonlight, glowing faintly. Her long platinum white hair drifted over her shoulder like silk. In the wind, she wore a minimal black outfit, metallic threads barely covering her. Not for beauty, but because that's all she had left. A small wooden sign stood beside her. Hand-painted in black letters, "Will work for prosthetic leg. People." Passed by, some glanced, then looked away quickly. Some smirked. One young alien boy even took a picture and giggled. She didn't blink, didn't flinch. She just stared straight ahead, her icy blue eyes calm but empty. Deep inside, she was screaming. Her stomach had been empty for days, her stump burned in. The cold air, but worst of all was the silence. Not one person had asked her name. Not one had even said, "Are you all right?" Until he came. He didn't look rich. He wore a dusty coat, human-made, and a thick scarf around his neck. He had a tool belt on his hip and a small backpack on his back. His boots were worn, but he walked like someone who had seen things and survived them. He stopped in front of her. She slowly looked up, expecting him to laugh or offer some sick deal instead. He crouched down to her level and looked her straight in the eye. "How much?" he asked quietly. She clenched her teeth. Her voice was dry and sharp. "I don't sell my body," she said. His face didn't change. He just looked at the sign, then back at her. "I didn't mean it like that," he replied. "I meant, how much for the leg you need?" She froze. No one had asked that. They always wanted something else. Always wanted to take, not give. "Why?" she whispered. "Why would you care?" He stood up slowly, took off his scarf, and gently placed it around her shoulders. "Because someone cared for me once," he said, "and I didn't forget what that felt like." She stared at him, speechless. He extended a hand. "Come with me," he said. "I'm a mechanic. I have some parts in my workshop. I won't chain you. I won't touch you. I just want to help." Her eyes narrowed. This had to be a trick. No one helped the broken, especially not a legless alien girl sitting in a ruin. But his hand didn't move. His eyes didn't lie. She took a deep breath and reached out. Her fingers trembled as they touched his. Warm, rough riel. He gently helped her up, letting her lean on his side as she limped beside him through the dust. The sign fell behind. Forgotten, they didn't speak as they walked. But something changed inside her. For the first time in a long time, she didn't feel invisible. She didn't feel for sale, and far above them, unseen behind the clouds, a satellite. Camera blinked red, tracking her movement. Her missing leg wasn't just a limb. It held secrets, ones someone didn't want found. But for now, all she knew was that she wasn't alone anymore. The workshop was small and half-buried beneath an old shuttle station. Dust covered everything: tools, wires, broken machines stacked to the ceiling. But it was warm and safe. The girl limped in slowly, her eyes scanning every corner. She still didn't trust him. No one in her life had ever helped her without asking something in return. He didn't speak. He just cleared a bench, pulled over a chair, and brought her a cup of hot broth. She sniffed it carefully, her hand shaking as she held the cup. Then she drank. The warmth spread through her like fire. It wasn't just food. It was proof. Proof that he meant it. He sat across from her and opened a small screen. Lines of contracts. Appeared real ones, official, legal, human-made. She frowned, confused. What is this? He smiled softly. A deal, he said, but not the kind you're used to. You help me around the shop, he explained, and I'll build you a prosthetic leg. She stared at him. That's it. She asked. No collar, no tags. No obedience codes. He shook his head. You're not property, he said. You're a worker if you want to be. She looked at the contract again. It asked for her name, her age, and her species, not to own her, but to register her. Safely. There was no fine print, no trap lines. It even offered free shelter, food. An optional payment if she stayed longer. Her hand hovered over the screen, her heart pounded in her chest. Could this be real? Could this be freedom? Finally, slowly, she signed just her first name, Saya. She didn't remember her full name anymore. It had been taken from her when they threw her out of the labs. Welcome aboard, Zaya, the human said. Reaching for a spare part on the shelf, I'm Rin. She blinked. You didn't tell me your name before. He chuckled. You didn't ask? They worked in silence for a while. Zaya sorted bolts, organized cables, and handed tools while Rin dismantled an old hover engine. Her hands were quick to quick. She recognized circuit paths most mechanics didn't. Rin noticed. You've done this before? He said. Curious. Zaya hesitated. Yes, she admitted. Back when I still had both legs, I was. Part of something. She didn't finish the sentence. Didn't want to say the name of the place. Didn't want to speak of the lab. The tests. The cold rooms where they turned her into a number she had escaped with only her life and even. That felt like a mistake sometimes. Rin didn't push. He just nodded and passed her a new wire to strip. That night, she slept in a real bed. It was small and creaked every time she moved, but it was hers. No chains. No locked doors, just a blanket, a pillow, and peace. But just as she was about to fall asleep, a faint hum came from her stump. She sat up in the dark. The glow from the ceiling lights hit her leg wrap, and she saw it. Tiny green lights blinking faintly under the skin. She tore off the wrap, heart pounding under the flesh. Something metallic was embedded too deep to remove by hand. It pulsed once, then stopped. Zaya covered it quickly and lay back down. She had forgotten, no. She had wanted to forget. But whatever they had put inside her, it wasn't dead. It was waiting. And now that she was safe, now that she had signed her name and left a trace, someone might be coming. She gripped the blanket tight and looked toward the door. Rin had said she was free now. But what if her past didn't care about freedom? What if they still saw her as broken property? She closed her eyes, but she didn't sleep. Not fully. Not yet. Because deep inside, something had turned on again. Something she didn't understand. And something the galaxy might still kill to reclaim. The next morning, Rin found her already awake. Zaya was sitting at the workbench, her fingers carefully cleaning tiny copper parts. She looked calm, but her eyes were tired. He noticed, but said nothing. Instead, he set down a black case. I think I found something you might like, he said. She turned and looked. The case hissed open, revealing several sleek prosthetic limbs, each one different, some old, some military, some civilian. Rin pointed to a silver one, slim and fast. This one should work with your frame. He said, we'll customize it. Zaya's face went pale. She stared at the silver leg like it was a bomb. Then, without warning, she pushed herself away from the bench. No, she whispered, backing into the corner. Not that one. Rin was confused. It's brand new, untouched, he said. She shook her head, her hands trembling. Look at the serial code, she said. Voice cracking. Rin picked it up again, turned it over. And there it was, burned into the inner joint. MKVI biomilitary prototype, reclaimed unity, froze. This wasn't just a leg, it was part of a banned line of military prosthetics built for weapons testing. A motion-based control and battlefield upgrades, highly illegal and very dangerous. Zaya's voice was shaky. "They used it on me," she said. "I wasn't supposed to keep it. When I escaped, I ripped it off. But part of it stayed inside me, I think. I think they tracked me through it." Rin slowly placed the leg back in the case and shut it. "You were part of the weapon trials," Ike said. Not asking, but realizing. Zaya nodded, tears forming in her eyes. "They called me a failure," she whispered, then tossed me out like garbage. He sat beside her, not speaking for a moment. She waited for him to turn cold, to look at her like a threat. But he didn't. Instead, he reached for a small scanner on the shelf. "Let me check something," he said. Gently, Zaya hesitated. Then lifted her tattered wrap. He hovered the scanner over her thigh. The screen lit up codes, wires, unknown readings. Rin frowned, zooming in there, beneath the scar tissue, a hidden chip, still active, still pulsing with soft energy. And around it, a biolinked socket, ready to connect. "She's still inside you," he said quietly. "The weapon. The code, they never removed it. It's not just tech," he added. "It's bonded to your body." Zaya leaned back, her heart racing. "I didn't want this," she said. "I just wanted to walk." Rin nodded. "And you will," he said. "But if we use the wrong piece, we could activate something dangerous." He opened another drawer, this time revealing basic parts holder models, slow but safe. "This won't make you fast," he said. "But it won't trigger anything either. It'll be your leg." Not theirs. Zaya looked at it, small, dull, plain. But it was hers. She took a deep breath and nodded. "Let's build it for hours." They worked together. She adjusted the wiring while he smoothed the connectors. It was slow, messy, but real. Piece by piece, they created something not for war, not for tests, but for her. As the sun set outside, Rin helped her attach it. She winced as it clicked into the socket, for a moment nothing. Then, the joint lit with soft green light. It moved, slightly. She gasped, flexing it once. Twice, it worked. She stood slowly, unsure, one shaky step. Then another. Her balance wobbled, but she didn't fall. Her arms stretched out, trembling like a baby learning to walk. But she was standing, and for the first time in years. She didn't feel broken, but outside the workshop, in the dark alley near the door, a silent drone hovered. Its red light blinked once, then faded into the shadows. The girl they discarded had stood up again. And the ones who built her now knew where she was. It was almost midnight when the storm rolled in. Rain hit the roof of the workshop like a drum, fast and sharp. Zaya sat near the window, her new leg propped up, still getting used to the weight. She had taken over half of Rin's workbench, fixing things faster than he expected. She was smiling for the first time, but her eyes still checked every corner of the room like she was expecting something bad. That night, the lights flickered twice. Rin stood up too. "Check the generator. It's old, but it holds," he muttered. Zaya tilted her head. "No," she said softly. "That's not just power loss." And she was right. Outside, in the mud and smoke, 3 figures moved through the dark. They wore armor light, black, silent. Each one had a glowing red mark on their shoulder. Asset Recovery Unit Beatrice class. They weren't here to ask questions. They were here to take her back. Inside, Zaya's chest tightened. She couldn't breathe. "It's them," she whispered. "I know that rhythm to flickers." Pause. 2 against, a signal. Rin grabbed his blaster from the shelf and checked the power cell. "I told you I'd help," he said, calm but serious. "They're not taking you." Zaya shook her head. "They're not just soldiers," she said. "They're hunters. They know how I think because they programmed me to think like them." Suddenly, the front door's motion sensor beeped once. Then went silent. Rin moved fast, shutting off the lights. "Stay low," he said. Pulling her behind the stacked crates, "I'll stall them." "No," she said, grabbing his arm, "you'll die." Rin looked her in the eyes. "Then let's not let it come to that," he said. Footsteps echoed just outside, quiet, patient, practiced. Then bang, the door exploded inward in a flash of blue energy. Splinters flew. Smoke filled the entrance. 3 shadows stepped inside, weapons raised. Their visors scanned the room. One spoke in a dead voice. "Target biosignature confirmed." Zaya gripped Rin's hand. Her voice shook. "They'll stun you first, then erase everything after." "I've seen it." But then something unexpected happened. Her prosthetic leg glowed faintly. A ripple of data moved up her thigh. She gasped, falling to one knee. "What's happening?" The chip inside her stump had connected to the new leg, even though they'd built it from junk. The system inside her still responded. Lines of code ran through her brain like a second voice. Override detected, manual control active. She stood. Slowly, the legs shifted, shape panels opened, forming sharp edges. "Rin." "I didn't know it could do this," she said, breathless. Rin raised his weapon. "Then let's use it." The first soldier moved in fast, too fast for any human. But Zaya moved 2 sideways, ducking low. She kicked with her new leg metal. Hit armor, sparks flew. The attacker fell back with a crash. Another fired a pulse rifle. Rin blasted it mid-air, covering her. The third hunter charged straight at Zaya, and she didn't run. She leaped, twisting in mid-air. Her prosthetic leg locked into place and extended, striking the enemy's shoulder and sending them crashing through the tool shelf. Silence followed. Smoke filled the air. Zaya's chest rose and fell fast. She was shaking, but she was standing. Rin lowered his weapon. "You okay?" She nodded, barely. "Yeah." She whispered, "I think I just scared myself." But outside the broken doorway, 2 more red lights blinked in the dark. More were coming. Zaya looked at Rin. "They're not stopping," she said. He nodded. "Then we leave." They gathered what they could: tools, parts, supplies. Zaya took one last look at the workshop. The first place she ever felt safe. Then she turned away. As they disappeared into the night, she whispered, "They wanted to erase me. But now I remember who I am." And somewhere far above, on a cold command ship orbiting the planet, a voice hissed, "The subject has activated Phase 2. They walked all night. Mud clung to their boots as the storm chased them through the wilds. The forest outside the city was cold and filled with the hum of strange insects and dying machines. Zaya limped slightly, still adjusting to the new. Leggett had changed again during the fight, adapted, evolved, and that scared her more than the soldiers ever could. They found shelter under the remains of an old space pod, half crushed in a crater. Rin checked for traps, then set up a small power lantern. Zaya collapsed on the padded floor, breathing hard, but her leg, it wouldn't stop glowing. She reached for it, fingers trembling. The panels shifted open again on their own, revealing a small circular port she'd never seen before. Rin sat beside her, confused. "That wasn't there yesterday," he said. "It wasn't there an hour ago," she whispered back. He pulled out a small diagnostic device and gently attached it to the port. The screen blinked, then went black. A single file appeared on the screen, pulsing, forest_hive_protocols. Only Zaya's breath caught in her throat. She knew that name years ago. She'd overheard it in the lab. It wasn't a weapon, it was a kill switch. A signal designed to shut down entire AI-controlled systems during war. Too powerful, too dangerous, so it was hidden inside one of the trial subjects. Inside her, Rin stared at the screen. "What is this?" Zaya looked down, shaking her head slowly. "They turned me into a back door," she said. If activated, this code could shut down fleets, drones, everything that runs on a shared neural link. They stored it in me. Because I was broken, Rin sat in stunned silence. So you're not just a test subject, he said quietly. Your insurance. Zaya nodded, tears filling her eyes. They didn't want me for what I was, she said. They want me for what I carry. Rin closed the device and pulled the connector out. We can't let them get you, he said. But we also can't just run anymore. Zaya wiped her face. Her voice was soft, but sure. You're right, she said. I need to control this before someone else does. She asked him to help her remove the housing under the skin chest to see if the chip could be safely disabled. As Rin opened the casing, tiny pulses of light moved up the nerves in her leg. Careful, she warned. Yeah, he replied. This thing is tied directly to your brainstem. Suddenly, the lantern flickered. Zaya's eyes widened. Rin. Back away. Too late. The chip flared bright blue. And a projection lit up in front of them. A hologram, shaped like her face, but colder. Emotionless activation confirmed, it said, processing host integration. Rin aimed his weapon at the light. Zaya gripped her head in pain. Voices echoed inside her skull, commands, codes, numbers, screams. I can't stop it, she cried. It's taking over, but then she did something the others never could. She fought back. She focused her mind, pushing against the invasive code. The projection trembled, flickered. Rin shouted over the noise, Zaya, don't let them win. She gritted her teeth and screamed, No, I'm not your weapon. And just like that silence, the light vanished, the projection died, the chip dimmed. She fell to the floor, gasping, sweat pouring down her face. Rin rushed to her side. You did it, he said. You stopped it. Zaya blinked up at him. I didn't just stop it, she whispered. I locked it inside me. No one can use it unless I let them. Rin looked at her with new eyes. This wasn't just a girl trying to survive anymore. She was a gate, a threat, and a choice all in one. And now the galaxy had no idea what she'd just become, outside the broken pod. The rain slowed too. A stop, but above the clouds, in a hidden military ship. A monitor blinked red again. Subject Z47. Partial activation detected. Risk level, maximum. Contain or destroy. Asterisk, they camped for 2 nights deep inside the old satellite. Forest, trees made of rusted steel and living moss rose above them. Silent and still, the place was abandoned decades ago, when Earth fell out of orbit with the galactic roots. But for now it was the only place the signal couldn't reach. No drones, no satellites, no tracking pulses. Zaya sat on a broken slab of stone, staring at her leg. It had returned to normal, no lights, no ports, no voice. But she could feel it now. Not like a machine, like a living thing inside her. Waiting, Rin worked quietly nearby, rebuilding a small cloaking beacon. He hadn't asked her any questions since the hologram attack. He was giving her space, but Zaya couldn't sit in silence anymore. I never agreed to carry this, she said suddenly. Rin looked up. I know. He said gently. They told me I was broken, she whispered. Unfit, useless. But they used my body to store something worth galactic war. They didn't ask. They didn't even tell me. Rin walked over and crouched beside her. You were just a girl trying to survive, he said. They thought that made you invisible. Zaya looked at him. But now I am a threat, she said. If anyone finds out what I carry, they'll kill me or worse. Use me. Rin didn't deny it. Instead, he said, then maybe it's time you decide what you want to do with it. Zaya blinked. No one had ever given her a real choice, not the scientists. Not the soldiers, not even the world. She had been passed, hidden, hunted, sold, but never asked. She stood up slowly, her new leg humming quietly beneath her. I want to walk into the central core station, she said. Rin looked shocked. "That's where they control the war networks," he said. "Zaya, that's suicide." "Not if I'm the one holding the code," she replied. "If I upload the kill switch into the master relay, I can destroy the system they use to enslave others like me, every forced cybernetic implant. We'll go dark." Rin stared at her. "You'd be ending their control," he said. "But once they know you're coming, they won't stop hunting." Zaya nodded. "I'm tired of running," she said. "I want this to end not just for me, but for everyone they built to suffer." Rin lowered his gaze, then slowly reached for a black box in his pack. He opened it and pulled out an old neural stabilizer, a crown-like device with flickering blue lights. "This will help you access the relay directly," he said. "It'll hurt, but you'll have control." Zaya took it in her hands. It was heavier than it looked. "Why are you helping me?" she asked softly. "You could walk away." Rin smiled faintly. "I could," he said, "but I won't. You remind me of someone I couldn't save. This time, my won't fail." She didn't ask who. His eyes said enough. The next morning, they left the forest. Rin guided them through old underground transit lines. Zaya walked without limping, with every step. Her leg felt more like hers, not a machine, not a weapon, but a part of her. When they reached the city limits, Rin stopped. "Once we cross this gate," he said, "we trigger every sensor. They'll know we're here." Zia took a deep breath, then let them come. Together, they stepped through the gate. And above them, high in the control towers, a red alarm blinked to life. "Subject Z47, reacquired, emergency response mobilized." But Zasia didn't flinch. She looked up at the sky and whispered, "You gave me no choice. Now it's my turn to choose." The city towered around them like a cage of glass and steel. Sirens wailed in the distance. Flying drones zipped above like metal vultures. Scanning every street, Zaya and Rin walked with purpose. No more hiding. Her steps were strong. Her eyes focused. She wore the neural crown now, pulsing softly with blue light. Inside her mind, the code stirred again. Not trying to control her, waiting for her command. It recognized her not as a host but as its master. They reached the center of the city's central core station. It stood tall, like a needle stabbing. The sky surrounded by armored guards and hunter units. Zaya took one last breath before stepping forward. The soldiers raised their weapons. "Halt." One shouted. Zaya didn't flinch. "I'm not here to fight," she said. "I'm here to end this." They hesitated till the scanners locked on her biosignature. Z47 detected primary asset. Then came the order, "Capture alive, if possible." But before they moved, Zaya raised her hand. Her prosthetic leg shifted a gun, opening into a radiant panel of light from her chest. A wave of blue energy surged outward. The guards froze literally, their suits locked up. Weapons jammed. Zaya walked right past them. The great doors opened. Sensing her presence, inside the heart of the station hummed 10 floors of glowing code streams, control towers, and satellite uplinks. Rin followed close behind, watching her with quiet. "Ah, you still have time to walk away," she told him. He smiled. "Not after everything." They reached the relay terminal. AOD old machine, but still alive. Zaya stepped onto the interface pad. The crown on her head blinked red, then green. Neural link ready, upload sequence unlocked. A voice echoed through the tower, cold and metallic. "Zaya, this is Commander Reth of the Biomilitary Division. You don't understand what you're carrying. That file is not just a shutdown, it's a reset. You'll wipe out control systems across 10 worlds. You'll kill soldiers, pilots, machines tied to medical implants." Zaya's fingers trembled over the controls. She looked at Rin. "Am I about to become the villain?" Rin looked her in the eyes. "No," he said. You're about to become free. And you're about to give that freedom to everyone they used like you. She closed her eyes and pressed her palm against the uplink. Pain exploded in her head. Every memory, every test, every scream from the lab roared back into her mind. But then she pushed past it. She commanded the code. Release, she whispered, and the system obeyed. The energy burst through the tower into the satellites. Above, across the world, control implants blinked off. Military bots powered down. Slave collars unlocked. Children in factories looked up as their chains fell, and far beyond Earth, across the colonies, those like her felt the weight lift. Zaya collapsed to her knees, breathing hard. The crown cracked and fell away. Smoke rose from the relay pad. Rin rushed to her, holding her close. "It's done," he said. "It's over, outside." The skies changed. No more red drones, no more searchlights, just quiet. They stayed there in the tower for hours. No one came to stop them. No one dared. When Zaya finally stood again, her eyes were wet but smiling. She limped only slightly. But this time, she didn't feel broken. She felt whole as they stepped outside. People were gathering: freed workers, escaped tech slaves, abandoned cyber beings. They looked at her. One of them whispered, "That's her, the girl they threw away. But she came back," another said. "She came back and set us free." Zaya turned to Rin. "You didn't save me," she said softly. "You helped me save myself." Rin nodded. "That's what friends do." And from that day on, the broken girl who once sat on a wooden stool became the symbol of a world no longer controlled by fear.